Hello and welcome to another edition of This Week in ITFC History. My name is David Diamond and I'll be here occasionally with the renegade Statman to discuss the names, the games, the wins, the draws and the losses from this week in ITFC history. There he is, Stat. You're in another hat, Stat. What have you got? Another hat, Stat.
This is an AFC.
Wow.
If you're not into American football, then it's another Broncos hat.
It's obviously Broncos, yeah.
But I've tried, because obviously this is going to be a 70s special, so I've tried to dress a bit like a youth of the 70s.
I've got my 78 shirt up there, 78 or 78, 79.
You got your flares on?
Yeah. No, I got my trackies on tonight. But talking about NFL, I actually watched a bit of it last night. Quite an exciting game. Went into overtime. It was 23-all, and I've no idea who won. I literally watched 5 minutes of it.
Would you want a spoiler?
Well, I don't care.
So you watch it's the Rams.
The Rams won, did they?
They did.
So does that mean they're in the Cup final? Sorry, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. Versus
so they could be world champions. They're against the Manchester United equivalent, the New England Patriots.
Oh, they always win, don't they?
I know, I don't like them.
Yeah. So how did the not? Don't want to rub salt on any wound here, but how did I know this is meant to be a football association football pod? How did the Broncos do this season?
Transitional season.
Crap then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Stat, brilliant to see you, mate. We haven't done one for a couple of weeks. I know we've been fairly busy, and it is. I don't think people appreciate it's busy getting all the notes together. But just to explain, the show today is a special show.
It is. So I did a little poll on Twitter to see what people want to do.
And Ian and Julian.
Yes, right. Yeah. And they chose decades. So I asked you what sort of decade, and clearly you went the 70s.
Clearly. Yeah, well, we've got to start somewhere, Stat. You've got to start somewhere.
You and our two other fans are going to be thrilled about the 1970s.
So it's Ian, who we call Clan, ITFC Ian, and obviously Jules Hughes, who are very keen followers of the History Pod. And this is really looking forward to this one with some good games. You threw out some good games there, and I think we've got some interesting stuff. So do you want to? When you're ready, Stat. Really?
Yeah. So like I said, it's a 70s special. So what we're trying to do is just concentrate on 4 games that happened in January during the 70s. So some of them have gone a little bit before already in the calendar year, and some of them are going to be a bit later. So the first game is the 3rd of January 1977. Now I just want to check, Dave, that this was a Monday.
This was a Monday, Stat.
Yeah,
I think this was a Monday. Yeah, so this would have been the New Year's, the equivalent of the New Year's Day game. Whether they played January the 1st back then, I don't. Perhaps they did play on the Saturday. I'm not actually sure, but yeah. So
should have looked at that. But anyway, so I've got the program.
Oh, wowzers! Have a look at that, mate. Yep, there it is. Yeah, the classic season. So that game on the front there was the game. 35,000 in Portman Road that day. That was one of Mariners' first game when we beat them 1-0. And Mariner scores. I think we covered that game before. He scores that ridiculous towering header, doesn't he?
He does. This is a great programme.
That's the classic. It's one of my favourite programmes, that one.
15 pence. It was Monday. Should have looked on the front. Monday, 3rd of January.
Yeah.
Lovely bit about Bobby Robson talking.
Sir Bob. We're not Sir Bob then, obviously. Have we got? Let's get back to last season's stat. Have we got a mascot?
Let's have a look. Mascot. Towards the back, I think. Junior Blues.
Yeah.
So hang on, how old is this person going to be? You can work out.
It was 42 years ago. Right. So the mascot's probably going to be 50 now, probably.
He's today's mascot for the visit of Manchester United is 11-year-old Roger Durrant.
Okay.
15
from
Gilderdale Close in Colchester.
Colchester?
Yeah.
Blimey.
Who do you reckon his favourite player was?
Oh, probably has made an impact already. Paul Mariner.
Colin Viljoen.
Oh.
And he's getting some stockings as an ideal... Sorry, he's getting a shirt, shorts and stockings as an ideal souvenir.
So he was... Did he say he was 11 then?
He was 11.
So that makes him 53. My God. Yeah.
Somebody wrote in, there's a bit called Club Scene here. And somebody wrote in... and
for all that, yeah.
They weren't very happy because they ended their letter with, finally, I think the fact sheet in the programme could be made even more interesting if you published Town's current average home gate. Now, if you weren't happy with that person's response, and you could contact MK Chandler of 23A Toseal Flats, Warwick University, Coventry, West Midlands.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Was he the official statistician back then?
He probably was. Did you have a pair of these back in the 70s, Dave? This is the Lambourne.
No, probably not. Oh, I had some. Oh man, I tell you where I used to get my trade. Now this is for the oldies out there. I'm sure Jules will remember this. The place to go in Ipswich for like teenager type stuff was John Walton's. John Walton's, mate, in Carl Street precinct. I used to buy me high waist Oxford bags from there, mate. Yeah, not Lambourne. Lambourne probably far. No, John Walton wouldn't have advertised in there.
I've never heard of John Walton's.
John Walton's, and then later on, late 70s, early 80s, for the mod gear and stuff like that, two-tone stuff, you'd have to go to Minns and Davis in Colchester. That was a place to go.
Minns,
Mintz,
right.
Minns and Davis. And I think they also latterly had a shop in Ipswich, but that was a place to go for gear back in the day, for clothes and stuff.
I've just remembered, in the club scene, somebody's written some rhymes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read them all out because...
I'll just read one. Go on.
All right, I'll read the one where she does say, so it's many thanks to dedicated town supporters Glynis, Lorna, Jill, Julie and Debbie, who've been recently busy compiling limericks about some of the town players. They're from Holbrook, and the girls write, we hope they will be taken in good spirit, especially the one about Kevin Beattie.
Oh.
So that's the first one I read.
Go on, then.
I didn't write these, by the way. There was a defender called Beattie who was very good with his...
Oh, no.
What do you reckon he was very good with?
Head. Go on, feety, go on.
Feety, yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Each day he would train, despite constant rain, so Robson would call him a sweetie.
Fantastic, mate.
We've got ones from Mariner, Mills, Clive Woods, or Trevor Wymark. I'll give you one more. Who do you want to listen to?
Oh, give me Paul Mariner. He's one of my faves. Go on, give me a Paul Mariner.
Paul Mariner is Town's number 9. Factually correct at that point. I like that.
Yeah. You can't argue with that.
And as a centre forward is fine. Bit lazy.
There.
He combines well with Trevor. Doesn't say who, but I'm guessing it must be Trevor Wymark.
It'll be Trevor Curtin, the kit man.
Yeah.
Probably unlikely.
What do you reckon she gets to rhyme with Trevor?
No, I've no idea. Go on.
The two are so clever.
Ah,
of course. When ready to score, give the sign.
What?
What sign did you give in the 70s to score? Did Mariner kind of look over and go, Trev?
Mate, I don't know that. I don't know that at all. Should have got, because Clever Trevor, that is a track by Ian Dury, of course.
It was. And then there's a little bit, they're promoting the Ipswich Town annual 1977,
I had that.
Which
yeah,
most people have that.
Yeah, look, Roger Osborne there, and but looks like an Arsenal game, I think. Arsenal away kit.
A really rubbish cartoon where it's got the referee is on the ground with a magnifying glass. Yeah, I forgot I could show you. Yeah. And I think they're saying he lost his lenses.
Lost his lenses, did he?
One thing I did like, and I know you're going to love this, and I don't know the answer to it, but we've got Quiz Spot.
Go on.
So there are 3 questions.
Oh, no. Go on. It's like 2 little ducks all over again. Go on, Stan.
Who was the first player to play for England while not with an English club?
Oh, I'd have said Jimmy Greaves.
Right. Good guess. Only 3 English clubs wear black and white vertical striped shirts. Can you name them?
Back in then. So Newcastle, Notts County, and one obvious one I've missed. I can't remember. Yeah.
Don't know.
Maybe Exeter City. There you go. Back in the day. Exeter.
And the last one, which was which member of England's World Cup side of 1966 was in 1977 an undertaker?
That was Ray Wilson.
Ray Wilson.
The left back, yeah.
And you'll be pleased to know that at the Regional Theatre of Suffolk, they had Treasure Island, because I guess they were doing it just towards the end of Christmas.
Panto type thing, yeah. So have you got the answers to the quiz then, Stat?
I'll have to get next week's programme.
Oh, God, it's next week's programme.
Well, that was what the lineup was on the programme. But shall I tell you what the lineup was?
Man, there was nothing like that. My God, we have got injuries here. Go on, Stat. Yeah, let's go for it. So have we said what the game?
Right. So this is Manchester United in Division 1. Bobby Robson in the home dugout, and Tommy Docherty is in the away. I never really liked him.
No, I'm not saying I did. He left Man U under sort of, was he not? He was caught. He was caught out with the physio or physiotherapist misses or something. Is that right? I think something like that. It was called in flagrante. I think the word is.
I love that word. And
I know.
It was a bit like Mick O'Brien, the first town manager who was.
Oh, yeah. It was his landlady, wasn't it?
He was the landlady of the Greyhound pub. I've been to the Greyhound pub.
There was libel actions flying. That was last season. You could ball that out. It was libel actions flying around all over the place.
Only cost us 10 grand.
70 years ago.
Let's go through the town team.
Yeah, go on.
So it was Cooper, Burley, Mills, Roberts, Beattie. Do you want to talk about any of that back four and goalie?
Well, I mean, just get. I tell you what, go through the team because there's some notable absences here.
So we've got Cooper, Burley, Mills playing at fullback, and Dale Roberts in with Kevin Beattie, Brian Talbot, Roger Osborne, John Walk, Clive Woods, Keith Birchin, and Robin Turner.
I mean, that's incredible, Robin Turner. I'd never remembered he'd have played. I mean, it was the players. It was more notable for the players that's missing there. So Alan, Roberts would be in for Hunter there.
Yeah.
And either Birchin in for Mariner and Turner in for Wymark. So we're taking on Man United. Go for the United side of back in the day household names. You go for United side.
So we've got Alex Stepney.
Yeah.
Jimmy Nichol.
Yeah.
Who I kind of mainly remember as manager Northern Ireland more than
playing for Northern Ireland too. Yeah.
Arthur Olberston.
Yeah. Scottish left back. Yeah. Full international. Good player. Left foot. Yeah.
Sammy McElroy.
Yeah.
Brian Greenoff.
Yeah. Again, England player. Yeah.
Captain Martin Buchan.
Yeah.
He was a good player.
Yeah.
David McCreary.
Yeah.
I don't know him.
Went on to play for Newcastle, I think. Again, Northern Ireland international. Probably played in the '82 World Cup, I guess. Yeah, pretty sure he did.
Jimmy McCreary. David McCreary. Oh, we did him, didn't we? Yeah, Jimmy. I'm looking at two lists. Jimmy Greenoff. Yeah. Obviously, Brian's brother.
Yeah. I think Brian was the younger. Yeah. Jimmy Greenoff was at Stoke for quite a while. I think started at Leeds, then went to Stoke. Long-term player for Stoke. Then went to Man United later on in his career. Again, Jimmy Greenoff did play for England. Not sure. Certainly Brian did. Not sure Jimmy did.
Stuart Pearson.
The England player. Yeah, certainly played for England. Yeah.
I don't want to add on whenever I say his name. I just want to say Stuart Pearson.
Oh yeah, Stuart Pearce.
Lou Macari.
Yeah.
And Gordon Hill.
Hill again, another England player. Yeah.
I mean that was a strong team.
Tricky left winger. I don't know the sub McGrath. I do not know the sub.
Well, I looked at it and I thought, blimey, he was a great player for Ireland. How long was he playing? And I had a look.
It's not Paul McGrath. No.
It's Chris.
Oh, Chris McGrath. Yeah. Might have gone on. Might have played for Spurs at some point. Maybe gone on to play for Spurs after Man U.
Shall I tell you in the little club pick thing what?
Yeah. Does it say?
Chris McGrath. Because you're saying McGrath, aren't you? But I'm a McGrath man. I'm not going with.
I think he's a McGrath. Paul McGrath. I think he's a McGrath. But anyway, go on.
He went on to the other end of the transfer market. So obviously Tommy Docherty talking about him looking in the transfer market to secure the services of Tottenham Hotspur's forgotten man.
There you go.
Chris McGrath for a fee of 30 grand, which could turn out to be one of the best bargains of the season. However, Tommy Docherty was concerned that 42 years later that people would still forget the forgotten man, Chris McGrath. So that's him.
There you go. Oh, please don't remember that.
Were you at this game, Dave?
Man, I was at this game. Yeah, I was at this game. You look at the crowd again, another 30,000 crowd. Man United always, still back in the day, bought loads of fans. They were still the team that bought you. Maybe Liverpool as well back in the day. But yeah, they would bring the most fans still. And Man United still a big draw as they always were right through the 70s after winning the European Cup and stuff. Although the side itself. This is only their second season up, 74, 75. They were down in obviously the second division. So they've been up a season, consolidated. Obviously this season, 76, 77. Later that season, most of that side pretty much. I went to that cup final, beat Liverpool in the cup final, of course.
So there was nothing on YouTube. I couldn't find anything, but I did pick up from reading what I remember about this game, and I can remember it, me and my pals right pretty much near the front of Churchman's, really icy pitch, to the extent was that is the first time I think I remember seeing players playing anything but
but some sound stupid, anything but boots, but playing trainers. Like, I think it's the first time I saw like Astros. Do you know what I mean? What they used to call the Astros. So the people wearing like these Adidas. What are they wearing? Are they like moulded? No, I don't think so. And they're like, bloody hell, what's this? You know, first game, I seem to sort of recall them wearing them. Yeah. And it was, if the game wouldn't have been played today, would not have been played today. I think probably back in those days, maybe they certainly didn't cover the whole pitch. Maybe the late 70s. Maybe the penalty areas got covered probably, and that was it probably. So treacherous, never would have been played. I think it was pretty much. I can remember them sort of like skating over the pitch all the way through the game.
Well, that's a great answer, because all I've written down is conditions, frozen pitch. That's all I got.
No, I remember it pretty well. Well, what I do remember about this, what I didn't remember about this game was the first goal. Bloody hell, one of the quickest ever.
25 seconds. Clive Woods, he loses the ball to Macari. He passes it to Pearson, and he shoots past Cooper. So 30,000 people are standing in the ground, and the majority of them are probably stunned after 25 seconds. And
he would be stunned, because this is Ipswich back in this season. So to put this season, to set the scene of this season, this is January, first game January, or maybe the second, may have played the first, I don't know. Anyway, 3rd of January 1977. So Paul Mariner had signed, obviously, at the end of October, and they'd beaten. So they were on a. This was the 14th game of an unbeaten run where they've won 10 and drawn the last 3.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think, looking at the programme, we played West Brom away on New Year's Day.
Okay, right.
So, we're 1-0 down after 25 seconds. And that's kind of where any notes and stuff, I've picked up a few things in the programme that kind of ran dry. But one thing that did come out, and I looked at, so you got Bobby Robson's programme notes here, which he does.
So you want the next week's programme notes?
So I went to the Bristol City Cup match programme, which was the one after, to see what he said.
I was at that game as well, 4-1. Yeah.
In that, do you remember what he said in the programme?
I don't remember what he said in the programme.
I was going to say, but he highlighted one fan support of Dale Roberts, because even though Dale Roberts made his debut in 1974, his next 3 starts for Town, or his first 3 starts for Town, were all away. So this was his first home senior debut.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Bobby Robson said he heard one young fan in the crowd shout, "Come on, Dale! You need to get the team going." Because I think we were misfiring certainly in the match, and he liked that. So he made a mention to the fan to say thank you ever so much for getting behind the young lad Dale Roberts, which was brilliant to hear.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and looking at it, it's a scratch side. I mean, Man U, looking at their side, then, as I can recall, that's their first choice. That would be their first choice side. And we're in obviously in the middle of this brilliant run. So we're second in the league, probably behind Liverpool, who ultimately go on to win it that year again. It's just superb, isn't it? And you can imagine what I remember about this game. I think we scored. I think we're 1-0 down. I think there wasn't much in the game, and you began to think, this is the end of our unbeaten run and stuff. Then I think there was it was an own goal, wasn't it, the equaliser?
Yeah, Clive Woods had a cross. So we're just over 11 minutes left of the game. Woods comes over, he's got a cross, and Greenoff, one of the brothers, when you just think you should be putting a J or a B.
I reckon because Greenoff J was more of I'd say Greenoff J, Jimmy, was more of a, not then, but we were a deep lying forward, you'd call him then, a number 10. So
it's going to be Brian. Yeah. So 79 minutes, he sticks Woods' cross into the back of the net to make it 1-1, and then 5 minutes later, so in the 84th minute.
I can remember this.
Do you want to talk?
This is both up Churchman's. So me and my pals in Churchman's. I was 14, I think it was. So brilliant. So near the front of Churchman's. So we get the equaliser, and we're sort of looking at each other. Oh, the unbeaten run goes on, and typical Ipswich in those days. In this day, it happened. The other team would go and score, but in this day and age, this is how it happened. And the sheer will of the crowd and the players, and I remember Woods. Couldn't miss from about 5-6 yards out, and absolutely place went mental. Absolutely mental, yeah. Great times, brilliant times.
We finished that game in second position, so it was the 20th league game, and we had 30 points, which 1.5 points per game back then was
that's great.
2 points,
in that, I've just made a couple notes. That unbeaten run would last one more game. We had a 2-0 home win against Everton before 15 games. I think we lost 1-0 to Spurs, and I'm pretty sure that winning run was still stands as one of our longest. Say winning run, undefeated run, still stands as one of our longest. I think maybe there was one stupid run in 79-80, I think, where we might have gone 20. I don't even think we went that barely in 80-81. It was a hell of a run, and winning all those games, But what a win this was without the likes of Mariner and Wymark. I mean, fantastic.
Yeah. So, like you say, we 1-0 down at half time, won the game 2-1, 30,000 there. Patched up team against, potentially were they considered England's biggest side at the time?
Yeah, I think for support and stuff like that, and still a very sort of quiet. You look at the players. They had Gordon Hill, flying winger, Macari, people like that. Quite a flamboyant sort of side. Played like to get the ball down and play sort of quite attractive football. So that was a good win. I mean, that's a sort of funny old season that season. That was the one season under Robson throughout 73 onwards through that we didn't qualify for Europe. I think we'd finished sixth the season before. That was a season I think Southampton beat Man United in the cup final, denied us then a place. Man United then took our place in UEFA Cup. Southampton obviously in the Cup Winners' Cup back then, and denied our place in Europe. So I think in the end that season we finished third. Liverpool, of course, won it, I think Man City had a good season that year as well. But that was also the season where Beattie had a really good. He'd played 30 games up till Easter, so while he's in the team, you've got half a chance. And that was the game where he had his over Easter that season. He had his unfortunate bonfire accident and set him out for the season, and we just tailed off and finished third.
I tell you what, I was looking at the league table that's got printed in the programme.
Yeah.
So obviously before this game, but Liverpool were top with 30 points from 22 games.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that we must have been, so we were in 28 with 19 games. So we had 3 games in hand at that point.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to mention to you, 2 players that were on the back for Manchester United that we haven't mentioned. Steve Coppell.
Oh,
so he
wow.
must have been.
Okay, so he's certainly not full strength. Yeah. So I'd say McCreary probably would be in for Coppell. Yeah.
And Stuart Houston, who obviously went on to be Town's assistant manager.
I mean, he'd have been left back, so I assume Ulverston's not in then. So Ulverston would have been quite young then, probably. So Ulverston would have come in for Stuart Houston. I mean, this must have been one of Turner's first games for Ipswich as well. I know it's not his debut because you'd have said it, but I'm pretty sure he couldn't have played many games before then. Yeah, I was really surprised.
A handful of games there, I reckon.
Yeah, probably.
So the next game.
What a great game that is, bloody hell.
The next game was on a Saturday, 5th of January, 1974.
Yeah.
And it was a 2 p.m. kickoff. Now, you're going to tell me why it was a 2 p.m. kickoff.
I was at the game. I know I was at this game. Memories are fairly hazy. Again, we'll get
so
to
it was an FA Cup third round against Sheffield
Cup third
United.
round, 73, 74. I only can imagine it was 2 o'clock kickoff because of power cuts and stuff. Day may have even been.
It was a 3-day working week.
Yeah.
What did you do for the other 2 days of the week when you weren't working, Dave, back in 74?
Yeah. Christ, the 3-day week, my God. All I remember about the 3-day week, it certainly didn't affect teachers because I'm pretty sure we went to school. I know this was over the Christmas holiday probably, but I'm pretty sure we went to school for 5 days and definitely didn't affect teachers. I know it didn't.
Teachers are a hardy bunch.
Oh yeah, you teachers are, you school types.
The opposition manager for Sheffield United was Ken Furphy.
Yeah, it was his name, Furphy, not Murphy. He was Ken Furphy. I think he also might have managed Watford at some point back in the day. Yeah,
never until this game.
There you go.
Aware of Ken Furphy. So this was the third round of the FA Cup. Yeah. I'm going to go through the Town side.
Go on.
Best: Burley Mills, Hunter Beattie, Morris, Hamilton, Viljoen, Lambert, Johnson, Wymark.
Yeah, that was a side.
Team, yeah.
Yeah, I would say in a few weeks, Talbot was about to make his debut. I know he had. Talbot was about to make his debut, and Morris was later that season on his way to Norwich. Maybe even sooner than that. But yeah, Talbot was going to come in a few weeks later. That's the full. That is at the time. That's the full strength side. So Hamilton, Viljoen, Lambert, Johnson, Wymark. Yeah, definitely.
You got to help me a little bit with the Sheffield United team.
Well, go on. This is brilliant because I know mostly. I've no idea of Connaught, and I don't know who. I've no idea.
Yeah, Connaught in goal. Badger, Ruth.
It's Len Badger. What a great
Len
word.
Badger.
Len Badger. Yeah, Len
Can you imagine
Badger.
there would, Sky Sports.
And he played
breaking
about
news.
700 games for him, definitely, or a lot. Yeah.
I've never heard of him. I wish I knew where a Badger lived because then I make some kind of joke. But it's not a name you're going to get in 2019, is it? Len Badger.
Badger lived in a set, I think he did.
Oh, there you go. Hemsley.
Go. Ted Hemsley, interesting. One of these players that was a pro footballer, but also a pro cricketer for Worcestershire, I believe, in the obviously in the summer.
Yep.
First class cricketer.
He wouldn't have been a very good cricketer if he was playing professional in December.
No, he wouldn't.
No. Flynn.
John Flynn, I think that was. I might be wrong.
Colquhoun.
Eddie Colquhoun, Scottish. I think he was a Scottish international, I think.
Sounds Scottish, definitely. Spate.
Mickey Spate, yeah. Mick Spate.
Woodward, is it? Let me guess, is it Rich?
That's Rich. Yeah, Rich Woodward. Yeah, prior to his debut on the Blue Man. No, that was Alan Woodward actually. A bit of a winger, but it's notable for 2 seasons before we played him away, 71-72, and lost 7-0, and he scored 4. So I thought I'd mention that one.
Eddie.
Dwayne Eddie. Also played guitar. Guitar. Yeah.
EDDY. What was his first name? Keith Eddie.
Yeah, I think he might have played for Watford as well. I'm not sure.
Dearden.
Billy Dearden.
Can I go with the next 2?
Go on.
So Darren Curry and Connor Salmons up front.
There you go. So it's Darren Curry's uncle Tony, class footballer, and Jeff Salmons, I think he might have also played for Stoke. I might be mistaken, but yeah, Tony Curry. It's the famous John. Is it the famous? I think John Motson. I think it's a John Motson match of the day when he scores the goal where mid-70s, I think may have even been goal of the season or certainly one of the candidates where he strolls through, sort of does his first football I've ever seen really do a step over. I think he's against West Ham, does a step over and feints left, feints right, and rolls the ball in from the edge of the box with his left foot. And John Motson, I think it's John Motson, does, and a quality goal from a quality player. Great.
Didn't he kiss a guy on the pitch? I remember a photo of him kissing someone.
That was him and Alan Birchinall from Leicester, I believe. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, how do you remember that? Yeah.
Or just 2 men kissing on the pitch in the 70s.
Yeah, you didn't see it in the 70s, did you?
No.
Commonplace. I think actually I just saw it on Emmerdale, to be fair. But anyway, go on. Not Tony Curry.
No, I was going to say. So 17,929 turn up for this third round.
Disappointing. I'd say disappointing gate, I would say.
Well, it's a top flight game. I'm not sure whether it had been picked up by Sky Sports, 6th versus 13th.
Yeah, probably just for they got a more interesting one, wouldn't they? Probably than that, yeah.
So this is a game where I would love to see the highlights, or at least the first half highlights.
There's none. There's none.
Well,
there's certainly some stills. There's certainly I've seen many stills, and I think maybe I'm looking at Beattie's book up there, and certainly it's up there, up there. Yeah, some stills of him scoring one of the goals where he's sort of head and shoulders again above the defender and scores him. But yeah, you shoot with a goal stat.
Right. So 21 minutes, Town take the lead. Brian Hamilton he takes Lambert's pass and he scores a goal. But I don't know. Yeah.
Good finisher. Yeah. I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all.
5 minutes later, Salmons he leaps up and equalises with a header.
Yeah.
And then 38 minutes, so just 7 minutes before half time, Curry with a scorcher from 30 yards.
See where his nephew got it from, can't you?
Yeah. Who do you reckon would win in a race, Darren Curry or his uncle now?
Well, now, probably even then his uncle could have. Yeah, probably even 10 years ago his uncle might have. Wasn't play. I still maintain. I know I've said it on here before, and the main pod that had he had a bit of pace, Curry he'd have played in the Prem, wouldn't he?
He wouldn't have played for us. Quality player.
No, he wouldn't have played for exactly. Yeah. He wouldn't have played for us. He'd been a Premier player. Just lacked that bit of pace. What a player!
So you think we're 1-0 up and suddenly we're 2-1 down. I guess it's the magic of the FA Cup with 7 minutes to go. But 44th minute, just before half time, Beattie with a towering header.
All I remember about these goals, they're identical goals. They're pretty much identical goals from what I can remember. I think both were corners. Beattie, tower, bang in, and then.
So you think?
Literally within the minute. So
When you get 2-2
Unstoppable.
just before half time, you must be thinking, brilliant. We've got back into this. We'll regroup and stuff like that. But then
unstoppable.
90 seconds between that goal and the other goal.
Pretty much identical goals, I'm fairly certain. Yeah.
3-2. So we go 3-2 at half time. So the goals in the first half were 21, 26, 38, 44 and 45.
First half, it's a goal bonanza.
Yeah, we take a 3-2 lead at half time. And in the second half, I've just got Chance. Beatty nearly scored an own goal. Best makes a great save.
It's done. I mean, we got knocked out. I mean, I think we won the next round. I think Beatty scored the winner in the next round at Man U. So he'd scored 3 in 2 games in the cup.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we got the horrible draw away to Liverpool. Back then, we never won it. We used to beat them at home, as we know, but never won at Liverpool. I think we lost 2-0. And then Liverpool went on to beat Newcastle in the in the cup final.
One thing that jumped out to me that I didn't realise was that between 1970 and 1974 in the FA Cup, there was a 3rd, 4th place playoff.
I've never heard of this before. I've never heard of this.
Only lasted.
Where did you get that from?
I don't know.
Online somewhere. I've never heard of that.
No, well, it's not all online. Sometimes I read a book.
Sorry, Stat. I wasn't demeaning your lack of reading. So I didn't mean that. But I've nearly
finished this, and I've only had it for 2 weeks.
42 years.
Yeah. That Town progressed, like you say, from the FA Cup, beating Sheffield United 3-2, and Furphy must have been disappointed. I'm gonna Google him, Ken Furphy, and have a look. If you're pulling my leg and his name is Ken Murphy.
No, it's not. It's Furphy. It is Furphy. But Stat, what's the game next, though?
Would it be called an epic?
Just quickly, hang on. I've got a bit of a number one for you. Bit of a number one.
What, from which one?
So 1974. So it was number one. So not to give too much away, it was number one at Christmas 1974.
Oh, was it?
And it is the Christmas.
Wizard.
Oh, close. Other one.
Is there another Christmas song? You're not going to get me to say Gary Glitter again. Rock and roll on Christmas.
No,
that wasn't very popular.
It wasn't Gary Glitter, and it wasn't Shaky either. The Christmas song, Stat. Come on.
I can't think of any. But the one with the guy with the beard. Oh no, Slade. That's what I meant to say.
It's great.
That's it. Yeah. What's
Merry
that song
Christmas,
called?
everyone. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, everyone. Something like that. Yeah.
I think that was taken from Charles Dickens, wasn't it? That one.
What, Christmas Carol?
Yeah, I think it was. I think if you read it, which I have done, there's a little bit of mention from Slade in there.
Yeah, you've read it on your Kindle. I know.
I have, yeah. So that was 1974, number one, was it?
It was. Nice. Christmas 73. Well, Christmas 73. So obviously it was number one for eons, like back then, 8 weeks or whatever it was.
I forgot to do the number ones. Have you got any more?
I have, yeah.
I'll look forward to that.
There's some booties, mate. Actually, I've got one for the first game, have I? Oh, it's a crap one now. I'm not even going to bother with that one.
All right. So this was what I would call one. Can we call this match of the decade?
I'd say this was one of them. This was up there. Although we
weren't that high in the league, though, were we?
No, we weren't. And this is a season ultimately where I just said we failed to get into Europe. But what a game! Yeah. So
it's the Saturday, the 10th of January, 1976. Town are away at Anfield. Bobby Robson takes his Blues to meet Bob Paisley.
And to set the scene, they don't lose many at home now, but back then Liverpool never lost at home. No. Never lost at home. Always won at home. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, all right.
Little things where I look at things and things jump out, but I wonder how many times have we played an opposition where both managers have had the same first name, Christian name, but not used it? Because he must have been Robert Paisley.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, Bob Paisley, Bobby Robson, Robert. Yeah, you don't, do you? Who gets? I mean,
I ain't got time for that stuff.
Certainly footballers, Robert, like Bobby Moore was Robert Moore. Yeah, they get called Bobby and Bob. It's a football thing, isn't it?
So why was Bobby Robson called Bobby and Bob Paisley Bob? Why wasn't he Bob Robson and Bobby Paisley? That just sounds odd, doesn't it? Bob Robson.
But yeah, anyway, let's go. Bob played Bobby Paisley. Sounds funny.
Bobby Paisley. Sounds like a dog in a Scottish detective thing or something.
It does. Yeah. So Bobby Robson, Bob Robson. Yeah, Bobby Robson sounds better. Yeah, Bob Paisley. Yeah, sounds better.
Is that how they
Although
do
we
it?
know it's a song, the Blade and Racer song, to see Bob Robson's aces, of course, because you couldn't say to see Bobby Robson's aces. Well, perhaps you could, but Bob fitted better, of course,
Was it?
I suppose.
Could you not say it because was it copyright or something like that, trademark, that you couldn't use the phrase Bobby Robson?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe so, Stat.
Let's go through the Liverpool team, and now they were out in force. Actually, the fact 40,547 people turned up at Anfield, and I think the Cop were waiting to see Town stars in action. But they had quite a few good players playing for themselves. So they had Ray Clements.
So all England. Tommy Smith, yeah.
Tommy, I mean, he had quite a career. You know, it took him a long time before he broke in and played for New Zealand and stuff like that.
You forget he played 500 games for Liverpool before that.
That's right, yeah.
And scored in a European Cup final.
Great player. Phil Neal.
Yeah.
Phil
Again,
Thompson.
England.
Mark Kennedy.
Ray Kennedy, England, yeah.
Emlyn Hughes.
England captain.
Well, more famous for being on Question of Sport, I think.
Yeah, no, it's Willie
And
Cast.
playing for Wolves.
Yeah.
Kevin Keelan.
Kevin Keelan, of course, England captain.
Yeah, Jimmy Case.
The Boots, another England player.
Was this next guy Stevie Highway or was he Steve Highway?
Well, I see. Yeah, I think it's Steve Highway, but Stevie Highway, a bit of a term of a bit of an endearment. Yeah. Great winger. What a winger.
Toshak.
Again, Keegan and Toshak up front.
With Jim Callaghan.
Former Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Ian Callaghan. Ian Callaghan. So when is this? 70. I mean, Ian Callaghan played about 800 games for Liverpool. I think he left for Swansea. But Ian Callaghan was also part of the never played, but was part of the '66 World Cup squad.
Fantastic play. 800 games. What?
I think something
in total.
Yeah. Again, it's something like he did play that many games for Liverpool. I say 800, 700, 800, something like that. Loads of games. He may even still be their record appearance holder. Probably not, but I'm sure he certainly was at one point. Loads of games. Loads on them.
Town lineup. Cooper in goal.
Yeah.
Burley, Mills, Hunter and Beattie.
Well, this was interesting because... Go on, carry on.
All right, yeah. Osborne, Talbot, Pedelty, Gates, Wymark, Johnson.
So to me, they're playing five at the back. It's Pedelty.
Penalty, yeah.
Centre
Sounds
half.
a bit like penalty, yeah.
Penalty,
I mean, it must have been, when I looked at that.
Pedelty won a penalty.
Did they do that back in the 70s, Dave? Because my view of the 70s is that they didn't really train that much. Could be, they went and had a few beers.
Sorry, looking at it. So 76. No, because Mills would have played left back. I was thinking Beattie may have played left back, and no,
it was Mills. Was Mills in left side of midfield?
Oh yeah, Mills. Yeah, good shout. Oh,
and Beattie at left back.
Exactly what would have happened. Yeah, good shout. So Mills would have played left side midfield. Beattie would have gone a left back, and Pedelty would have played alongside Hunter. Yeah, good shouts. That you know your 70s football.
Well, that's because I've been listening to you, mate. I've been listening to you,
mate. Look at that.
You've been rubbing off on me. So 13 minutes into the game, Liverpool take the lead. There's a free kick about 30 yards out.
Oh, it's poor, isn't it? But oh dear, he just hit it hard though. He wallops it, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he is a goalkeeper, and it was all. I love Paul Cooper. I know that you think that Richard Wright is better than Paul Cooper, and I just think that they're on a par.
Stop it with shit stirring. Yeah,
Cooper,
go on. Yeah.
He should have saved it. When you look back at it on YouTube,
should have parried it out, shouldn't he? Yeah.
No one parried it back in the 70s, though, did they? They never punched, never parried. I think we probably got to Italian 90.
It's a weird old goal. He sort of shoveled it in off a post, didn't he?
Yeah. So they go 1-0 up after 13 minutes. On the half-hour mark, there's a throw-in by David Johnson. There's very clever work by Gates, and he gets to the byline in front of the Cop.
Made a note about this. This was, I reckon, the first example of the trademark Eric Gates, where he gets the ball. I think it's Phil Neal, so he draws the defender close, gets the ball from Mariner, little drop the shoulder. He's round. What a goal that is! What a cross! That's
a great goal. Wymark at the far post, and he heads in.
So the ball goes over, bypasses Clements. Clements can't do anything about it. It's clearly taken out. Literally, shit, it's Wymark. Bang. What a goal that is. Brilliant goal.
So we've equalised. We're back on terms at Anfield, and then 3 minutes later, Tommy Smith went across on the right. Keegan gets ahead of the defenders, and he puts an easy header past Cooper. Cooper should have come and got it.
It's 6-yard box, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oops, what's he doing? Honestly,
I watched it.
Richard Wright would have caught that, I think. Anyway,
I think Wright would have done. So
I think Laurie Stiffle might have done. Actually, thinking about the game after this.
Wait until the next game. You picked some great games there. So 33 minutes, Town are 2-1 down. We go at half-time 2-1 down. And it's not until the 65th minute, so we're 20 minutes into the second half, where Town come back again. And as I put, it's a great goal this. Burley feeds Osborne down the right wing. Osborne cuts inside. He plays a cross into the Liverpool penalty area. And Gates, his touch is fantastic.
Ridiculous.
Just fires it past Clements. I watched that about 20 times, I reckon.
Hell of a goal. Tell you what is a brilliant part of that goal, the pass from Burley, because Burley's like almost running back to his own box and then turns and hits the ball sort of straight down the line of Osborne. It's a hell of a goal. And again, you got to evaluate there. So Gates has probably been marked by Phil Thompson, Emlyn Hughes probably. So he takes them out completely, rifles it in, doesn't he? Brilliant goal.
Get yourself on YouTube and watch that goal. That Town second, brilliant. So we've fought back again, and then with 12 minutes to go, in the 78th minute, Keegan's pass finds Case in the penalty area, and he rampages towards goal, and it is like a proper rampage. And his initial shot is spilled by Cooper,
isn't it? And he sort of is an irresistible force.
Yeah, and he kind of puts it. Well, there you go. Have another go, and so he said, all right, it goes back to Case, and he just puts it through Cooper's legs.
I've got to say, arguably, old Coops is at fault for 3 there, isn't he? Arguably.
We would have won that game if we'd had Laurie Civil in goal, I think.
Oh, I'm not sure.
12 minutes to go, we're downhearted, I'd say, but then on the 83rd minute, Burley's free kick's headed down by Beat. He's on the edge of the box, and like you said, big, powerful, strong. He managed to get up there, and plays the ball down.
Is it? Not a classic finish.
You need to watch this again to try and figure out how the ball actually ends up in the net, because Weimark runs in, sort of a scrap. I can't even see where he hits it, and then it just sort of trundles over the line. Really.
And he almost finishes up in the net with him, doesn't he? It's like he bundles it in. It's
at the Anfield Road end, that would have been.
Yeah, it was opposite end of the Kop. But what a game! And again, Liverpool. What a season! I just looked at their seasons. So they won the league, 60 points, which is phenomenal. 42 games back to 2 points to win. 60 points. Lost 5 games all season, including we beat them at Portman Road earlier on in the season 2-1. And that was the season where QPR had a brilliant season and probably should have won it, but they pipped QPR by a point and Man U by 3 right at the end. But God, fantastic. I mean, look at that Liverpool side. Ridiculous. Absolutely crazy, isn't it?
I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, when you look at it, Hughes, Keegan, Toshak.
That's the side. That is pretty much the side. So they won the league that year. So they finally won the European Cup the next season when they beat Borussia Mönchengladbach. I said Tommy Smith scored in the final. It was Keegan's last game before he went to Hamburg. So the season after they won the European Cup. What a side! What a side that is.
We were 9th, and it was a disappointing result for Liverpool because they dropped from 1st to 3rd after that game.
Yeah. No, QPR, I think, were really. It was neck and neck, certainly in the latter stage of that season between QPR and Liverpool. Certainly, QPR had never won the leagues. That was, Stan Bowles, Jerry Francis, players like that. And I think the neutrals are rooting, a team like QPR. It would have been a team like us, seemed like, back in the day, rooting QPR a win that obviously not. They missed out, and Liverpool won it again.
What's your view about? I don't know if you're the same as me, but when I was young and being brought up, Liverpool basically won everything. Yeah. So now we are in 2019 with Liverpool doing well at the top of the Premier League, and people say, "Oh, surely you want Liverpool to win," and I'm like, "Nah, I still can't."
I don't know. I don't mind
seeing it every year.
Sorry,
they won it every year.
Total. I mean, literally total domination. Yeah, I mean, Man United, you think dominated to a degree, but you always had the Arsenals and latterly the Chelseas. Even back then, before Man City came on the scene, with the money. So they're always there, but Liverpool just dominated it every single season. Obviously, Forest interspersed by Forest one season and Villa another in the early 80s. I think every other season. And then, Everton perhaps. But every other season it was Liverpool. I mean, it was total dominance, really. And certainly for 2 or 3 of those seasons, it was them and us. Definitely was.
Yeah. So we're now on to the fourth and final game.
And, number one for that last season. So number one for that last. So if you thought that what was it, Merry Christmas Everybody or Merry Christmas Everyone by Slade was a big record.
Yeah.
What do you reckon number one was on the 10th of January 1976? That just a small record, really, just a small one, not really well known. Ooh. Ben's not averse to playing it. There you go.
Is it Mull of Kintyre?
Oh, you've actually, that's the next one. Go on. Oh. It's not Mull of Kintyre. So the clue's in Ben is not averse to playing this. Ben. Any opportunity, Ben will play this record. Ben will play it keyboard and even put Ipswich Town lyrics to it.
Would it? So it was a singer called Ben. No. Was it? The only song I can think of with Ben in it is
Michael Jackson.
Ben by Michael Jackson.
About the mouse. No. Our Ben's not averse to playing it.
Our Ben. Is that even a? Yeah, Ben
Plum.
Yeah, he likes to play a song. He likes to play lots of songs. Oh, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Absolutely, of course it is.
Was it?
Yeah. Bohemian Rap.
I bored the Statman family the other night by just going. So on the TV, you can call up YouTube and stuff. Yeah. I had YouTube and I put in Blue Monday podcast, and then you see all of them along. And I was watching them, and they didn't seem very interested, really.
Funny enough, I do that, and that's a queue, and they all bugger off and do something else generally.
But then I came across Ben at the Ipswich Music Day, whenever it was, and he was in black and white suit, which could have been the third kit back in the 70s that we were asking, and he played Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one, that footage, yeah.
So there you go. I can't believe I got that one. Is the next one Mull of Kintyre?
Yeah, it is. So get that out of the way, first of all. Yeah, let's get that one out of the way. So Stat, where are we going? So that gives a little bit of a clue to all the music buffs out there.
Yeah, we're on the football special, so is that when you used to go down there and smash places up on the way down to London?
I've got to say, who we're playing, I would not have gone there back in the 70s. No. Dangerous.
So it's 1978. People think it's dangerous. They might be thinking that we're off to the den, but we're not. Somewhere a bit calmer than that.
Yeah, arguably back then, yeah.
So it's a Division 1 game. Bobby Robson, obviously in charge throughout the 70s as a town manager. Do you want to tell me who the Chelsea manager was?
The Chelsea manager was Ken Sciletto, yeah.
Was he like Italian or something?
I think so, no. Perhaps
Sciletto, never. That's
a former Chelsea player. Used to play for Chelsea back in the day.
So, we're at Stamford Bridge, 26,044 turn up, and let's go through. Do you realise that when we first started off with the pod, when we were in the pod bunker, I think we came up. I think we did cover this game. I don't know how it got slipped in again, but when I saw it, I was delighted. Yeah, because I think remember we spoke about Peter the Cat Benetti and say, wouldn't it be better if his nickname was Peter the Elephant, because he would have covered. He would have covered the goal.
I do remember this. Yeah.
So we're going to go through the Chelsea team. So Peter Benetti.
Yeah.
John Locke.
Gary Locke. Yeah, that's a good point. You guess, and Gary Locke. That is, yeah.
Yeah. Rolf Harris.
Anita. Ron Chopper Harris. Yeah.
Leon Britton.
Ian Britton.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? Droy. What do you reckon?
Droy. So it's Droy.
And
are you doing a Metal Mickey thing? Androy. Oh. Someone calling.
Mickey Droy.
Mickey Droy. Wicks, Stevie Wicks. He's gone now for a bit. Who was that?
Yeah.
Are you going to answer it?
Wife's mum. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Go on.
That's manners for you.
Yeah.
Joe Garner.
Yeah, Bill Garner.
Yeah,
Bill Garner. Good old
Ray Wilkins.
Yeah, Butch Wilkins. Yeah, player.
Peter Langley.
Tommy
Langley. Kenny Swain.
Yeah. So we'll get on to Kenny Swain, because interesting Kenny Swain. We'll get on to that.
And Walker Roy.
catchphrase. Say what you see. See what you see. Say what you see.
What's Mr. Chips doing now?
What's Mr. Chips doing now? Say what you see. See what you see. Clive Walker.
Clive Walker. Now, I tell you what, have a look at this Town team.
This is scratch. Look at this. My God.
You can pick out the lineup from this. So, I don't know whether it was an injury crisis because covering that 70s game, that game against Liverpool with Cooper basically throwing all the balls in the back of the net. We've got his understudy.
It makes me laugh. You put civil brackets, big capitals, injury crisis, close brackets.
Poor Laurie Civil.
You're most defending him before you run through the game stat.
Well, yeah. To be fair, there was an injury crisis there. Laurie Civil was in the team, and I think one of the things people often overlook is the fact that Paul Cooper was the only player not to play, in Robson's famous team, not to be an international player, and that does include Laurie Civil, who obviously played for the Allies, or no, against the Allies, in World War II. So he was up. He had a. Well, I'll tell you who he had in front of them, and you can put them in the position that they were. So he had Mills, Tibbett, Hunter, Osman.
Yeah, straightforward. Yeah, so you had Mills right back, Les Tibbett left back, Hunter Osman in the middle. Yeah,
and Talbot, Osborne, Walk, Gates, Mariner, and Geddes.
So I reckon they're missing Cooper, obviously, Burley, no Burley. BE, well, that was that season where they wheeled him up for the Cup. The next week was the Cup fourth round against Hartlepool, where I know he played. Trevor Wymark, who I think got injured Boxing Day that season, which kept him out of the ultimate rest of the season. Clive Woods and Colin Viljoen, of course.
Now, what I thought was quite interesting about this, because this was literally a year after we played Manchester United, the one with the programme. Yeah. And in this programme, as what I want to come back and cover it, was an article in there saying, watch out for. And it's probably in the 70s, getting your head smashed in or stuff like that. But this was a series that looks at the up-and-coming young stars of Portman Road. And it was Russell Osman.
Russell Osman, there you go.
So there's a good bit there.
Osman. Yeah.
I might send that by social media to Russell Osman, who's
Russell.
Wasn't his dad Rex or something like that?
Yeah, he used to run the centre spot.
Yeah. Anyway, so is that how he got in the team? I'm running the centre. Come on, Bobby. Running the centre spot.
Bobby,
come on, lad, have a go.
I've given you an extra Yorkshire pudding with your roast. Yeah. Give me lad a go. Good play. Good player, wasn't he? Russell Osman, what a player. My God.
Shall we rattle through?
Go on, go.
This game.
So, get through.
14 minutes in, Gates with a deep cross. It reaches Osborne, who heads it home. And I think, do you know what the commentator said when he scored?
1-0.
1-0.
I mean, the thing about this is, and as good you mentioned that stat, he scored. This is his first goal of the season, not surprisingly, and he was to score 2 goals that season. I think these next goal was to have a far greater significance.
Oh, that game. Yeah, wow. So, 14 minutes, we're 1-0 up. 27 minutes, Chelsea walks. As I'll just read what I put down. Walker's cross is punched, brackets, badly.
He just punches it straight on Swain's head, doesn't he?
Yeah. And Swain heads into an empty net, and then you can see Civil and Hunter.
Hunter's not happy.
Words. No. What about you, Liz?
Hey, Laurie. What about you, Laurie?
What about you? Laurie Civil would have been a bit stupid if he decided to say anything back to Big Al.
Poor old Lord. What a career he had. But it was Ipswich. I think he was only one of 2 players that was at Town right through the Robson era. Him and Mick Mills. And he's 5'9" for God's sake. I mean, what a keeper, considering. This game.
5'9". Is he? How tall is he compared to Mickey Stockwell?
I don't know. Mickey Stoke, did he play in goal? He probably did play in goal at some, but he played everywhere else, didn't he?
Anyway, so he punches it badly. He's having a nightmare. So it's 1-1 after 27 minutes. But Town just take this in the stride and walk. He picks up the ball on the edge of the area after a poor clearance, and his rising shot is
lashes it in,
deflected past the cat. So 29 minutes. It's 2-1 to Town. In fact, that's how they go in at half time. 2-1. And we're midway through the second half, 67th minute. And as I've put here, what is going on here is what I've actually written down. Tell me about this. There's a Chelsea player laying on the ground, a Town defender. I don't even know who it was, because I'm still shocked about the guy laying on the ground. He's dawdling with the ball.
I think it's Osman.
he gets robbed, and then the pass goes to Kenny Swain, who looks well offside.
Oh, he's like 10 yards offside, isn't he? But I think they think that it's touched an Ipswich player last, clearly, and it obviously didn't. We can see,
a bit like the Bristol Rovers.
Yes, exactly. And Kenny Swain, I was going to say, is quite an interesting one because the season or so after that, he moves to Villa. He scores 2 from playing up front in this game. Moves to Villa, is converted to a right back by Ron Saunders and the Villa coach. Yeah, played right back in there. Well, they're championship winning side. So
he makes it 2-2. But you've got to watch that. It's almost like a comedy of errors. That would never happen. VAR would have had a field day about all of that.
And I think they've got the guys right in the middle of the pitch. They're playing around him. He's like this. He's down, sort of crouching, isn't he? I mean, not crouching. He's prone, isn't he?
He is
in a ball, and they're sort of playing around him. Yeah,
on an incredibly muddy pitch.
Stamford Bridge.
It's like being in Stowe Upland or stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. However,
74th minute. Despite coming back from 1-0 and 2-1 down, Chelsea then take the lead. It's a lovely pass by Wilkins in the town box, and Swain smartly pokes the ball past Civil.
I think
3-2.
I think it's Steve Finiston actually the substitute, but by that time. But yeah, small things.
Yeah, sorry. It is Finiston. If you look at my notes, I've put goal Chelsea Finiston, and then when I've written it, I've dedicated. Kenny Swain was great. I just literally thought he scored all 5 goals in this. So they're 3-2 up, but with 9 minutes to go, Town have a corner. Bonetti drops it. Because Cats were quite good with their
pause
of wall. Pause, whatever. Yeah, and drops it, and Mariner blasts the ball high into the back of the net. There was never. No one was ever going to stop that.
I watched this game because you can see this game on YouTube now. We were covering it. I watched it earlier, and you get after this goal goes in. If you listen, as they're sort of jogging back to the centre circle, you get the classic 70s terrace chant, probably from the shed. Well, yeah, it is from the shed. Of you're going to get your heads kicked in. Marvelous 70s chant. Always there to put the fear of God in some young away fan.
We, being the general masses, were talking on Twitter or tweeting on Twitter about 3 weeks ago about forgotten chants from and that was one. But the one I always remember was "You're going home in an Ipswich ambulance."
You're going home in an Ipswich ambulance. There's another one. Yeah.
Were they talking to the players or the fans?
Fans,
right.
Say. I guess you're going home in Ipswich ambulance. Could have been player, I suppose, but pretty much directed at the fans. I think. Yeah.
Was that because the
coach cage with the north stand? So do you remember the north stand when the cage was there? When you were
getting misty-eyed now.
So you had the fence, home fans, fence, away fans. Yeah, that was a regular.
So Town bring it back to 3-3 with 9 minutes to go. 77-78. Doing well in the cup, or potentially about to do well in the cup, but not doing very well in the league. So this would be a good point for us. But then 3 minutes later, and as I've written with my notes, I'm getting annoyed with Civil now. What was he doing?
What's he? Laurie.
For a cross and misses his punch.
It's a desperate
The ball
goal.
bobbles inside the 6-yard box, and it trundles over the line.
I'd actually say this is a very similar goal to the one you described, Weimark's goal at Anfield. It's sort of it just sort of like trundles in, doesn't he? And I think Wilkins claims it. I think. Yeah,
I mean, it got Wicks, but there was 2 places. So one said it was Wicks, another one said it was Wilkins. But I don't think anybody would really want to claim that goal.
I think Ray scored better goals than that.
He did, and then in the 90th minute, Town are 4-3 down. Are we going to get a chance to come back into it? And the answer is no. There's a hint of offside. Do you think?
Maybe the Chelsea fans were directing that chant at the linesman. Do you think?
Yeah. And he's just like kept his flag down. And then what I like about it is it's not a crosser put down. It's a long, low pass. He's about 30 yards into his own half, and he just plays this long, low ball that it doesn't quite bounce along there, but it's pretty low, and it finds Langley.
Yeah, good finish.
Who takes it into the area, and he slides it past Civil, who's probably at this point thinking blow the whistle round.
I mean, we're struggling here. I mean, I just look back and where we were. I know this was Yeah, just look back where we were. So this is a fourth game in a run of 5 defeats, which under Robson that was unheard of. That never happened. Not in the after the his great side, early days, yes, but not after I don't know early 70s. This was a really really odd season. Obviously totally saved by the cup. A real anomaly of a season in the Robson, the latter Robson era. Really.
Here's a question for you. So if they hadn't won the cup that year, would his job been? Would it have been? I'm just saying. Us modern day football fans.
No. I think he had a 10-year contract, didn't he? I mean, or verbal or whatever he had.
He never signed a contract as such, did he?
No, that was a gentleman's handshake with the cup. I think he'd have been all right, Stat. Yeah, I think his past achievements would And I'm sure we'd have still stayed up, as we we've covered this before. We stayed up as latterly at Easter, but not a great season. But
what I liked about this was at the end he said, which was a real positive thing. It was just Bobby Robson to say, at times like these, we need your support more than ever. So Lambert has followed him there, I think.
No, so if you think that this is like the fourth defeat in 5, so really all they've got to play for is the cup. They're nowhere, really struggling. So and then if you look at that side, clearly you'd think, looking at the team there, he's got one eye on the cup match the next week. And I know for Beattie played in that cup match. Viljoen plays. I know Viljoen scored a couple of goals. I think we've covered that game against Hartlepool before. So clearly, even I think at this stage, it's still a half decent side, but he's got one eye on the cup match the next week. Which 4th round, then you're on to the 5th round, and we know the rest is history. Enjoyed that Stat, and what I enjoyed more on YouTube, classic Brian Moore big match commentary, isn't it?
Yes, fantastic.
Brilliant. As was the Liverpool game before, which was the great Gerald Sinstad, of Merseyside, whatever.
Now,
but I'm go on. You say, go on. What you're going to say?
I've got a number 1 for you. So let me give you a clue.
Go on,
It was something to do with what would keep planes up in the air.
Jet fuel,
yeah. And it was about a rugged rock on the Western Hebrides or something like that.
Yeah, it's a great song. Great song.
Mull of Kintyre, I think we had to sing that at primary school.
I remember about the video, because again, back in those days, there weren't so many videos out. I mean, it was on the beach, wasn't it? In the Scottish band of the Dragoons or whatever they were, came across the beach playing the bagpipes. Yeah, again, it was a bit like Bohemian Rhapsody. That was number 1 for ages over Christmas and into the New Year. I think well into the New Year. Okay.
So there are 4 games, Dave, but I kind of wanted to ask you, have you got any memories from the 70s?
Stop it. I'm going to indulge myself, because looking through, I'd never have picked this game, so I don't remember enough about the game. There's certainly no YouTube footage of this, but I'm going to indulge myself, because going through these games that Stat provided, there was on the 17th of January 1970, I realised it was my very first game ever, very first Ipswich game as a 7-year-old, and it was a home defeat by Burnley on the 17th of January 1970. Went with my dear old dad, brilliant, who's long departed, on my little box in the old West Stand, as it were. So the Portman Stand, Cobbold Stand was not even developed yet. That was another season or so away. Sadly, to see us lose 1-0 to a Frank Casper goal, who later was going to become Burnley manager years later. So yeah, fond memories of that. Yeah, that brought it back. I remember that game, reasonably clearly. And then I then I got the old book out and looked back at the season. And my first win was later that season. We beat Southampton 2-0. Was probably in the March of that season. So yeah. And there's my phone again.
Whose phone is that?
That's mine.
Are you going to pick it up then?
Probably not. Oh, it's been picked up. There you go.
Well, I tell you what, bizarrely, I don't know what my first game was.
You must do.
No, because I've got loads of... my dad obviously went before with loads of programmes, and I used to get over with mum and dad, but I think it's fair to say that their understanding of how important statistics are is a little bit different to mine. So it's vaguely like, well,
you never got it from them. I can't believe you never got your love of stats from your parents. I can't believe that.
No, they were like, well, could it have been that game or that game? So they don't know. And there was a period during the 70s when I broke my leg, and Yeah, broke my leg. A strange story that my aunt was, the big whale that they had. Not my aunt. That's not my aunt.
Sorry, not very flattering about your aunt.
Sorry. There was a big inflatable.
My aunt, the big whale. Not really.
Big inflatable whale on Felixstowe Pier.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I remember going in that with all my family. I was quite young, and there were some loutish lads, as they were in the 70s, probably skinheads and Doc Martens.
Yeah.
They were bouncing around. Probably not in their Doc Martens. You had to take your shoes off, didn't you, before you went on there? And they pushed her, and she was
you pushed the whale.
My inflatable aunt. No, they pushed my aunt, right, and she's tumbling towards the zip hole, and I put my leg in the way, bizarrely as you do when you're 6, and she landed right on my leg.
Oh my God! So your auntie broke your leg.
Yeah, and then that meant that for a while, I had to be. This was the 70s. It's fine. I'm comfortable with it now. But so I had to be pushed around in a pram when I was like 7 years old. And so when my mum used to work,
you mean a pushchair, don't you? Not a pram. You sat in a pram. With your legs up in the pram.
Yeah, and
comedy.
The worst thing is because I couldn't go to school because of the broken leg. I had to go to where my mum worked, because you could do that then, just bring your kids into work in the 70s. The unfortunate thing was my mum worked right next door to the primary school, so I used to be pushed in a pram past.
Where was that next? Which
Halifax Primary School.
Oh yeah, Halifax.
My mum used to work at the Prince of Wales old people's home, as we used to call it. I think they call it residential areas now.
Yeah,
but back then,
Old Prince of Wales Drive. Yeah.
So there were a few games where I missed it during the 70s because there's no way I was going to be. So
your first sort of season though would have been what, mid-70s then? Or
I think I was about 76, maybe. I've got to say maybe the
new game might have been your first one. Who knows?
Well, I'm thinking it was March 76, so probably the 75, 76 season. Yeah. But unfortunately they can't remember, which is disappointing. But I kind of like the fact that I don't know where it is. Yeah, make it up. So actually, my first game was the FA Cup final at Wembley. My mate Mick had got me a couple of Mick Mills. That is, he got me a couple of tickets just to say there you go, because he'd seen me being pushed past the school.
I felt sorry for him being pushed in his pram. Look at that 12-year-old being pushed to school in his pram.
To be honest with you, I'm still very comfortable. Sometimes when I'm with the kids, I say, "Oh," and they're like, "Oh, Dad, don't get in the pram," but they'll push me around town and stuff. It's just a good thing to do. Some great memories of the 70s, Dave. And I don't know whether you think maybe we should go for another decade at some point and go for the dare we say the 80s.
Dare we say it? Dare we say the 80s? Yeah,
well, I think we've got
to have enough likes out there to do it. We need to be prompted to do it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this stat, and maybe we'll do the 70s. Perhaps we'll do the 70s. Further on in the season where who knows can encapsulate some European games. Obviously this is January, so no European games until February, late February at the earliest, probably, is it? The European break.
Let's hop on the Townsend-Torresen ferry across to Zeebrugge.
Yeah, let's do that and get on those bloody Aries coaches down to the West Country, Bristol City or wherever we used to go.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Well, I've enjoyed that, Dave. It's been good to see you.
You too, mate. You too. Yeah. We'll certainly do it again soon. Do we need to any plugs to get in this evening? I don't think so. No, not really.
No plugs at all. Just watch this. It's great. Watch it again. No, in fact, actually, we're going to plug anything. Watch Chelsea 5, Ipswich 3.
Watch for a great goalkeeping display by Laurie Civil. However, I don't think Paul Cooper can have too much to say about his display at Anfield, can he? I don't think he'd be too proud of that, will he?
Liverpool 3, Ipswich 3 is definitely another thing to watch. Really enjoyed that, Dave.
Cheers, mate.
Back to back. Oh, he's got it. He's back to Sweetley. Found the goalkeeper.